scores of oils, watercolours, sculptures and drawings, which she combined in an installation, a portrait of Mrs. Spinks. The piece includes a mock-up of Mrs. Spinks's bedsit, made from cardboard and junk, complete with some of the intriguing elderly lady's personal belongings. At the time the work was first shown, the term installation was new to the art world. Although overlooked by the era's serious critics, a portrait of Mrs. Spinks has toured galleries and museums ever since, inspired a book, Ava Spinks Speaks, with plans for a stage show now in discussion. Eleanor, now 87, has outlived Mrs. Spinks, but her muse's wicked attitude and outlook lives on. Do what you like, she'd say. Stop being a good girl and do what you like. Don't feel that you have to do what people tell you any longer. I tell it to my art students. Hers is quite an immoral message. It really doesn't matter as long as you enjoy life, though God knows she got into endless trouble. That's what I learnt from her, and I think that's why people admire her, because she was so wicked, and yet you love her. A portrait of Mrs. Spinks is at the Coleraine and Compton Gallery's Bruce Castle Museum in Lordship Lane until March the 10th.
For many revellers across the country, the first ray of sunshine on the morning of January the 1st was a signal to start wending their way to bed. But for one Edmonton dance teacher, it signalled the start of one of the biggest and busiest days in his calendar. Ken Hines is the artistic director of African and Caribbean dance troupe Rough Diamond, and he was up at the crack of dawn, not through any late-night revelling, but because his cohorts had been selected to join the 1,000-strong New Year's Day parade that wound its merry way through the streets of the capital on the first day of the new year. It was absolutely sensational, Ken told the advertiser. We were dancing with a troupe from Enfield, Badra belly dance, and the atmosphere was just electric. The artistic director was thrilled with how his 8 performers had wowed spectators on the capital's crowded streets, adding that when they passed by, they were greeted with huge cheers. When you're in that spirit, you don't feel tired, said Ken, explaining how the 8 Rough Diamond dancers had kept going throughout the parade from 10 o'clock in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And the 50-year-old is determined that next year's celebrations are going to be even bigger and better than ever. This year we made a big splash, but next year with more money and more preparation time, we will really put on a spectacle, he promised. The Rough Diamond group is open to dancers aged 19 and over, and more information about the troupe can be found at www.ruff, that's R-U-F-F, diamond-explosion.com.
Success is sweet for a manor house visited by more than 17,000 people since it reopened to host education, tours and a wedding. Demand for Forty Hall and estate in Forty Hall has been high since it opened its doors to the public in June, following renovation using a grant from Enfield Borough Council and Heritage Lottery Fund. The hall has hosted its first wedding and welcomed more than 200 schoolchildren through its doors.
200 more trees will grace Enfield's roads this spring as part of an initiative by the Mayor of London. The trees will be planted in residential streets to help Mayor Boris Johnson deliver his promise to plant 10,000 new trees in the city by March 2015. Enfield is one of 19 boroughs to receive funding and is behind only Ealing, which is set to receive 210 trees of the 2,000 to be planted by spring. The Mayor aims to increase tree cover in London by 5% by 2025 to improve air quality, reduce the risk of flooding and attract wildlife.
One of Ireland's most successful folk musicians, Davy Arthur, is coming to London for an evening of Celtic music and song. Summoning the evocative sounds of a cello, mandolin and tenor banjo, Davy captures the soul of the music he so dearly loves. Davy will be joined on stage by his youngest son, Patrick Parr Arthur, on percussion and strings, guitarist Steve Layton and Pete Dunn on bass. And he's going to appear at the Dugdale Centre, London Road, Enfield Town, on January the 23rd at 8 p.m. And if you did want details, you'd need to ring 0208 807 6680.
Now a bit of ping pong. Ellenborough Table Tennis Club's Sam Wilson added to the club's list of titles after he was crowned World Standard Hard Bat Junior Champion at the World Championships in the Netherlands. The 11-year-old produced a string of impressive performances at the event, which sees both competitors given a traditional hard bat rather than the modern reverse rubber bats. Despite a 15-hour journey the previous day, Wilson put on a strong display which culminated in him beating 16-year-old Netherlands player Brian Bakker in the final. Ellenborough chairman Keith Williams said, "Everyone at the club is delighted at Sam's world title. The junior event is open to any boy under 18 and Sam is only 11. Playing hard bat competitions is part of Sam's many hours of purposeful practice. Sam was inspired by London 2012 and particularly by the South Korean defender Joo Si-hyuk. He is enjoying his table tennis and we're confident that this world title will be a stepping stone in Sam's journey to the top of the modern game. He certainly has all the ingredients to succeed. There is a tangible Olympic legacy at Ellenborough Table Tennis Club."
This is another article about table tennis. Ping pong. Ping pong players are being urged to pick up a paddle and join a weekly club in Edmonton. The 3 E's Table Tennis Club, which is run by parents, volunteers and members, is working to attract more players to the sport. Players meet every Wednesday in Boundary Hall in Snells Park between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. for coaching, games and competing in the North Middlesex League. Councillor Christine Hamilton says this is yet another example of a first-rate leisure facility provided for young people in our borough that keeps them off the streets and they're doing something fun and productive with their friends in a safe and supportive environment. With a bit of luck, the 3 E's Club will help us find a talented crop of table tennis players good enough to represent Great Britain at forthcoming Olympic Games.
We have reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Elizabeth, Audrey, Malcolm and myself and Dave on the controls, it's
Goodbye.
Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper. And Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.